You're watching Let's Chat.
Coming up on September the 1st, our next guest will officially don the robe of Chattanooga Criminal Court Judge, and that is the incoming judge, of course, Boyd Patterson. Judge, soon to be judge, good to see you. We're very happy to have you here as your final few weeks in the defender's office. Quick history on you. You fought on all sides of the legal bench. You've been in the prosecutor's seat, you have been in the defense seat. Now you're going to be stepping into the judge's bench.
That's right, Chip.
And you've gotten a lot of other accolades underneath your belt. How is all of this experience going to combine, not just to make you a better judge, but to make Chattanooga a better and hopefully safer community?
You really have to understand crime from lots of different angles, Chip. And one of the things that's key is understanding adolescence. I was a juvenile counselor before I went to law school, got my master's and undergraduate degrees in psychology, and counseled delinquent youth for a couple of years. So you really have to understand what drives adolescents to join gangs, what drives adolescents to engage in risky behavior in general. When you understand that, a lot of things that seem inexplicable to the average citizen make sense when you understand that teenagers typically want status, they want belonging, they want opportunity. And the gangs are the ones that are providing that in a negative way. So as a counselor, I got to see that. And then obviously as a prosecutor and defense attorney and gang task force coordinator, we saw
And in a lot of cases, of course, these kids are going to where, as you said, they want to feel accepted, and they're going to where they do feel accepted. And over the past several weeks, Chattanooga has made national news too many times for all the wrong reasons.
That's right.
There are, and you were, as we mentioned a moment ago, you spearheaded the initial gang task force years and years ago. What prompted that then at that point, and what do we need in that seat now, today?
The thing that prompted the original gang task force in 2011 was the leadership of Mayor Jim Coppinger at the time. He saw where Chattanooga and Hamilton County, greater Hamilton County, was headed. And so he pulled together a public safety committee where we all discussed what we could do. And from those conversations in 2011, the gang task force concept was agreed upon. I was asked to start it up and run it. And that's what led to the launch of the gang task force in 2012.
Any idea of roughly how many gangs operate here in the city, in the county?
Well, there's a loose definition of gang. Sometimes what the normal citizen thinks of as a gang isn't necessarily what constitutes a gang, and vice versa. Sometimes what they think, oh, that's not a gang, well, typically it can be. So I can tell you there's probably 500 plus gang members in the area, and some think that's high, some think that's low. Any amount of gang members certainly deserves our attention.
And those are just the numbers that law enforcement know about.
That's correct.
That number could be a lot higher. And especially in light of the shooting down by Mary's Lounge just, 9 or 10 days ago. A lot of people are getting really, really riled up. I would imagine those of you in the court systems are getting pretty riled up about it as well. As the incoming judge, what steps can you take in a positive direction to help nip some of this in the bud?
Well, as criminal court judge, you know, I just have to take the cases as they come. And I can tell you that if a kid comes before the court, any court really, and it's not a violent crime, they're not a repeat offender, and that kid is sincere about changing their life around, they should get a chance to do that. However, if the person coming before the court is a repeat offender or the crime is a crime of violence, then the law provides that that person can spend time incarcerated.
And you are, obviously, as a judge, you have to operate within the parameters of the law. And one of the questions I was going to ask is, are you going to be a tough judge? And I think you just answered that. You will operate within the parameters of the law.
That's correct.
What do you think one of your biggest challenges is going to be on day one?
Day one, well, practicing law in those courts, criminal courts in general, for 20 years, hopefully a lot of that has been squared away. I'm sure there's going to be something that pops up. There's certain things that criminal court judges deal with that the litigators don't, dealing with bond meetings, dealing with appointment cases. And so we'll figure that out as we go.
Couple of, actually it's a two-pronged question, and we only have about 60 seconds or so. I want to know about what we as a community have to be hopeful for when it comes to this reduction in crime. And number two, there's going to be a new sheriff, a new district attorney, and one more new judge who are all spearheading our defense. How's the cooperation level going to be, and what can we be hopeful about and hopeful for?
I got to meet a lot of the incoming folks while I was on the campaign trail. Chattanooga has a lot to be hopeful for. These are motivated people who really want to make a difference. There's a lot that we can be hopeful for as far as the incoming positions.
Right.
Generally speaking, Chattanooga can be very hopeful because we have a large number
Incoming, Judge, I hate to cut you off. We have got to run for this quick commercial break. Find out more at boydpatterson.com, boydpatterson.com. And yes, the incoming judge will be making a future visit right here on Let's Chat.